Good morning, traders. Welcome to the trading room. For my YouTube traders, this will be the weekly outlook. Again, quick reminder to all of you on YouTube, if you would like to have access to our trading room until mid-February, we have extended it to mid-February because a lot of the traders who signed up for January did not manage to log on. For some reason, they missed the registration as to how to do it. Now, if you're one of those people who missed the registration, please send me a quick message on Skype. Mangal, let me just type my Skype here for you because it's in the description, but still they missed that too, right? Like MANGAL 457. Send me a message and we will give you a short video we created for you. It's only about 10 minutes, but the video will explain in details everything you need to do to log on. Right, we're going to give you details. We tell you about sending the message from Skype. We tell you about getting an email. We tell you what to look for in the email. We tell you step by step everything you need. It is a very short video, very detailed. So if you didn't get to log on last week in the live sessions, some of the traders did manage to get in. If you didn't manage to get in, send me a message. You're still extended until mid-February. For those of you who haven't joined but would like to join, seeing this message for the first time, send me a Skype message. And just say, I would like to have access, 2 weeks free access, and we will give you the 2 weeks free access. So we're going to do it until mid-February, and then it's over. For those of you who are curious to know what happens in the trading room, please join. Thank you. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the majors. I'm going to go through some cryptos and some stocks and some indices and gas and oil and all of that, gold, silver, everything. And then if you want more of it, and you would like to have all of this that you see here, or any separate thing that is not here, join the live session and you will get your whatever pair of currency or cryptos you're doing. We'll analyze it for you. So I'm gonna give you my view for today and maybe for the week what is going to happen. Most of those could change if there is any structural change in the chart. When I say it could change because of structural change, some of the traders who are not wave analysis trader have come to the conclusion that, well, these guys are not sure what they're doing, right? Now, if you're curious to know what I mean by that, follow up on the charts or join the live session. You would see, we would show you the change. We will show you why we are changing it, and we'll show you how we're going to make the next trade, right? So that might enhance you in the future in your trading, is to believe that there's no one direction. That's why it's called wave analysis. We might be buying this morning, and by this afternoon, we're selling it. Or we might be selling this morning, and by this afternoon, we're buying it, right? It doesn't matter because it moves up and down all the time. And unless you're a long-term trader who's going to buy and keep it for like 10 years or 5 years or 3 years, then only then you can have one direction. Otherwise to that, if you're a day trader like us, you should be trading both directions all the time because the chart tends to go up and down all the time, right? Let's go. Dollar index, 1 hour. Now, I'm going to go forward to give you some details here because we spoke about that. And you notice I have these 2 lines here. What I'm looking for is that I'm thinking this is the first impulse within whatever is going to happen. And then we started trading this downwards. If you notice, we're trading this upwards. Now, we just broke the top. So I'm looking at it. We have some divergence. But then I look back at this one. The impulse went up, right? And then I saw we had a lot of divergence there too. If you look at that, from the very start, see, I have this line here. From the very start, it started to show divergence. If you were in here, you would see this divergence here. And then you would see this divergence here. And then you would see this divergence here because it's still divergence with this, right? We're still, and then you would see all of this. So what I realized is that from this point onwards, all the way to the top, there was divergence. But that didn't stop it from going, right? Divergence doesn't mean that it's going to go. All divergence telling that the momentum is dying out, and that a correction is possible. And there was a lot of correction, right? If you realize that this was a correction, this was a correction, there was a correction here, there was a correction here. It keeps making very deep corrections, but it kept going up. So this turned out to be the corrective part. Now, here's the question. Is that all the correction? And if you're a wave analysis trader, you would know for sure you never know where the correction ends. Because this thing could come back all the way to the bottom here and keep going back up. It could keep go sideways for the next 2 weeks and then go back up. See? And these are all, or it could keep going like this all the way to the top. So what and how this chart is going to move, no one knows. But here is what you know. You know that there will be a specific pattern created on any given time frame and any given piece of this chart. So what you're saying to yourself as a day trader is that I just need to know what the pattern is for today. And is there an impulse in there that I can catch? That's all. And if there is, good. Congratulations, you got yourself a trade. If there isn't, if it's just going sideways for the rest of the day, then you don't have a trade. And that is okay. You're not always going to get a trade on every instrument all the time. And that's the reason why we look at so many instruments, which means that every given day we are going to have a trade. Because all of these instruments, one of them is going to have a good setup in it. And sometimes more than one. So you have to look at the number of them, not just one or two. Now, any one person cannot trade all of this. It's impossible. You can't keep track of all of these charts here. But with a group of very good traders who understand wave analysis and are capable of looking at it, we can track all of those. So if I'm not trading, let's say at any given time, I'm not looking at, let's say, the US rubles, for example, or Mexican peso. But somebody comes in and says, hey, can you take a look at this Mexican peso? I think I have a good buy setup. And I would look at it and I would see that, yeah, there's a perfect good buy setup. I like it. I would take the trade. I don't necessarily have to be trading Mexican peso all the time, but I like the setup. I understand it. I see it. It fits all the criteria we want, and that's a good trade. We'll go with it. That's why we have a group of traders who look at all these things. Because then if you're in a group, you're more capable of making better trades than if you're trading alone. It's that simple. So that said, what we expect here today, I think it's good. There's a good chance it's going to continue to go. So if I'm going to look for a buy setup, I want to see a flag at the top there. I want to see a flag. I want to see a correction, something that says you can buy. Right now, there isn't anything, right? There's this very small little flag at the very top of a very small flag. So we want to see if this becomes more like something like this. And if it becomes something like this, that becomes a buy. It's not going to happen in the next 2-3 hours. Now, here's the thing. If you're an aggressive trader with divergence in play and you see this, and again, let me repeat, if you're an aggressive trader with very good knowledge of wave analysis, understanding when and how it's going to go, which means I don't think this is going to drop to the bottom, but there's a possibility for that. And because of everything else that I have, this could be a good sell. Now, this sell might only do this and then go back to the top. Or it might do this and start pulling back really sharp. If that happens, this becomes the first impulse of a possible flat here. Now, here is where it becomes important in trading. If you know all of that are possibilities, right? You know that. From right now, I know all those possibilities exist. Should I take the trade? Of course. Because if any one of those should happen, I know what's going to happen next. If this drop really sharp and start pulling back, I'm almost guaranteed it's not going to go out at the top, right? Because I'm looking at it as the first impulse in a possible flat. And with that knowledge, I am able to get out of that trade for positive, right? If it stays here too long and it's kind of, staying here and I can look at it and I can see that this is a channel, I might even stay longer with it, let it continue doing this before it goes. Close the trade somewhere here and then get into the buy. It's all about how much you understand what is happening in the chart at any given moment. That knowledge is what you're using to give you the edge in the market. So I would say we have a sell setup, but not something I would advise any one of you without wave analysis trading, without a skill level of managing trades to do. Right? That's a very aggressive sell. But for me, that would be a good sell. Silver, right? So like this trade, you would look at it and that was a buy setup. Any of my trader who took that came out for break even. By rule, there's a rule that will allow you to close that trade and will make you close the trade because it's not going anywhere. It did break the top and then it started to drop. So I wasn't here on Friday, but I was pretty sure some of you got some very good trade setups and them. The Pong especially was a good sell. I'll show you that one when we came on. And there's a number one. So what we have here is this. What are the chances of this going back up? Once you see this, you're thinking, yeah, there's a good chance of this. All we have is 3 sharp waves. We have this one, we have this one, and we have this one. We don't have a pattern, but we have 3 sharp waves within this. So there's a very good chance that this could work its way back to the top here. And if that happens, good for all of us because we have a sell, we have a buy, we have a sell, and then we have a buy. As soon as we find a core correction, we would know what we're looking for. Right now, we don't have any core correction, so we really don't have any trade. Well, I think we might look for a buy setup. We don't have it as yet, but if this stays here longer, if it comes back to the bottom and it stays here, then we will get a sell setup, which means we'll get something like this, and then something like that. So it all depends on what happens here. Now, there isn't a trade setup in it. I think gold was a sell. I left you guys with the possibility that you will sell gold, and thank God it worked perfect, right? Gold sell on Friday would have been perfect. So it dropped to the bottom, started to pull back. By rule, you guys closed that trade right in here, because I can see in the 15 minutes it stayed here long enough for you to make profit. So that would have been a perfect sell setup. What we're looking for, another sell setup. So we're back at the low. Let's see if it goes back to the top. If it doesn't wait for a flag here, wait for a flag and sell it. If it goes back up, perfect. We start selling from the top going down. Right? Now, will this be the one that breaks out? I don't necessarily know that. Right? There's a possibility we can go with 1, 2, 3, and that is the one that breaks out. But if it wants to make, if it's going to stay here in the range for a bigger flat, that is possible, right? We've seen that happen where this works its way back to the top there, come here, make another flat, and then just go back up. That's okay like this. Just go back up. But we will make the assumption that there's going to be a sell setup here today. Let's see. We'll track it all day and we'll see. We have at least 3 more sessions today. So we'll know what happens. Let's see what that does. Euro was a perfect sell setup. I hope all of you got it. I don't even have to show you. If you didn't have an entry order here for the Euro, you haven't learned anything in this group, right? We're back at the top. You see the flag. It's a news coming. Sell it. No questions asked. That was a perfect sell. Now what we're going to look for at the bottom here, we're going to look for a buy setup, especially since we broke the low. And this is going up. You can go with a buy setup here. We're back into the channel. Pull this a little lower like that. We're back into the channel. And that means that we will assume that this thing is making a channel. I think we will figure out where this belongs to. If it belongs to any of these, I think 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we could probably go with an expanding flat here, because I was looking at this one, right? And then this is the sharp one. Go down here, make another sharp one. We can put an expanding flat for now. Go with the possible expanding flat there. This is the drop. See, this is the drop. Look for the upside and see whether that becomes another flat. Go into 1 hour. Yeah, you want to know if this is going to make another flat here. I don't think it's a running flat. We can see 3 distinctive flat in it, so I would go with channel rather than running flat, which means we're channeling. We're looking for buy setups. I'll put it, look for buy setups. Let's see if we have, go with setups first. I don't know if we have a flag there. Let's go back to the 15, see if we have a flag. Aggressive trade, but yes, buy setup. Buy setup for a possible bigger flat as well. Right? Keep in mind that it could also be a bigger flat. Put an entry above the top. Should it start to go up slow, we'll deal with it. But right now, I think you can take the risk of it. You see, this didn't make any flag. This didn't make any flag. Here's where you're getting a flag for upside. There's a small running flat in here. And now it's upside. So let's go with that. We're going with an active buy. We have the same. We don't have an active sell here as yet. Pong, I think Pong, you would have seen this. It broke the top, came back, broke the top. There's a flag here just before the news. So yes, you go for the sell. This was the buy. Take that off. That was way before. It did break the top. And we dropped. So if the Euro was the better one, but if you took this, perfect. So now what we have is this move. Let's go back to the 1 hour. Take these out. That was the buy before. Take this out. We're still going back to that top, except now we're doing this. Right now we have this flat in play. We have that flat in play. This 1, 2, 3. This is a separate one of its own. You can go with this one, a separate one. And now we're here. So there's a very good chance it may or may not tag the low again. Right? May or may not tag the low. I don't think this is 1, 2, 3. By the way, we could look at that. I don't think so, because this has a lot of correction in it here, this piece. So this is going to go more as a 1, 2, 3. This has a flat in here for a 1, 2, 3. So you've got an impulse, you've got an impulse, you've got an impulse. Is it over? Or is there more to it? If there's more to it, then this has to come back here, more like this one, right? Come back there, drop again. maybe even come back here, drop again, right? And then go. But as long as it keeps doing this, we wait for the bottom, look for buy setup. So we're looking for a buy setup here now. I don't think it's going to go now. I think we'll probably retest this low before it goes. So I'm just going to put a line there. You're keeping track because we broke this low slightly. We want to break this one slightly. And then the buy setup becomes perfect, right? So it's dropping still. I still think this could drop. Let it drop some more. There's a small flag. You don't really want to sell it. I don't think it's going to go very far. You're not looking for a sell. You want it to drop, break the low, then look for the buy setup. So I'll say let's look for a buy setup. We don't have a trade. We're looking for a setup. Selling it, there is no rule saying it can drop far, right? But I don't think this one is going to drop far, right? Because the first one didn't break very far. You just wanted to drop, break, look for the upside. This upside is still going to happen. It's probably going to come lower here. There's still a probability. I don't think this is the start of an impulse to the downside. Even if it is, we will not look at that as the start of an impulse to the downside, not the way it's going. So we want, I don't think this is the one that's going to, I think this one might end up at a more of a correction here, come back, retest the low. There are too many pieces in there before it go, and then this one is going to go. But if we get a buy setup, we'll take it. Because if that is the one that goes out, well, then good for us, right? We're still going to get to that top before we go down. Aussie, downside. No questions. If you didn't put a sell setup on Aussie, then that's trouble. Because remember, I said it doesn't matter what happens. It could go back to the top. You're still looking for the sell. So Aussie would have been a sell under the last impulse. That would have been the best. So you're not going to put a buy on the Aussie in this case, right? This is too sharp. This is very corrective. Unless you had a really nice flag there was no buy setup. So I hope you guys did that correct. But let's see what happens here. We could still look for a sell. The only thing that is, we broke out of this. I will assume we broke out of that because we broke the low. This one could be a separate one, which means we could be making a series of this. We could end up with some kind of a running flat here. And now from this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they go back up. We don't have a buy setup. If it consolidates here more, we'll go for the sell. Even on the 15, you don't have anything, right? On the 15, you don't, it's just going sideways. There isn't a buy or a sell setup in it as yet. This might turn into something, but I think we wait because the bigger picture is downside on this. And the same thing for New Zealand, right? This was a buy to go break the top and then drop. It didn't break the top. In the news, you wouldn't be buying to go for this. You would be selling it. And the best way to sell it is to put the entry under the low, under the last impulse. We did that many times, right? So if you were looking at this and you're saying, okay, the news is coming. This is still downside, right? This never broke the low. So you're either going to trade for that or you're going to trade for this. Obviously, you're going to be trading for the downside. So if you guys, why I'm telling you this is that if you were looking at the chart, you were deciding where you would put the entry and which direction you go, and you got that correct, perfect. It means you understand where, so you understand what we're looking for. This is still downside. We never broke that low. But I thought it will break the top first. It didn't break the top. So if it didn't break the top, we can make an assumption that that was it. Right? This was all that correction. And this belongs to whatever is happening here now. Right? There's a chance for that because now we finally broke the low. The only time we're going to go back to all of this being one big flat, if this piece here turns out to be something like this. Let's say it works its way up slowly here, come back here, go back there, come here, and then go back to the top as a 1, 2, 3. Then we will go with all of this as some kind of a running or expanding flat, with this being the core correction. We don't know that yet, right? That's too early to tell. So just wait. What are the chances to go back to that top? Very big. Remember, we thought this could break from here. Instead, it went back to the top. So this is pretty much repeating something like this. Do we have a buy setup? Nope, we don't. We just need a flag, right? This is just a sharp move. That doesn't mean anything, right? This one didn't mean anything. It still dropped. This could still drop. We don't have a sell setup either. If it stops and make a flag, we buy. If it starts coming down, any flag in here would be a sell, right? So we will wait for one of those two setups and then we'll decide on the trade. I'm more likely inclined to believe it's going to go up. Let's wait for see if we can get the buy setup. CAD. Okay, so CAD did drop, also didn't break the low. And that means we're open to whether this is making something else because we didn't break the low. We didn't break this low. Can we look at it as a 1, 2, 3 without breaking that low? Because remember, the inside is a running flat. That is possible. So in this case, you can say, well, they don't necessarily have to break the low, because the low it needs to break is this one. Do we have a buy setup here? Well, let's go take a look. Not at the moment, we don't have a buy setup. At the moment, it looks like this piece is trying to make a sell. This piece is trying to go back. 1 second, guys. Give me a second, please. Yeah, sorry about that. At the moment, it looks like this is trying to make a flag for downside, but we wouldn't sell it, especially if we have this. If you're getting this in a range here, you're not selling this, because this might just go there, come back here, and then go back up, right? So you have to prove that it's not channeling. You don't want to get into this flag, tag at the bottom here, and starts to go back up, right? Then you're stuck in a channel here where you're taking losses for no reason. So when you see structure like this, what you're saying is that, okay, clear the structure, disprove the channel, drop some more, make another flag, get in the trade. That's all. So right now, although there might be a setup for a sell, we're not selling it as yet. On the bigger picture, what does it look like? And the bigger picture, it does look outside. But what if we got this one wrong here? What if, this is making something else in here? What if this is making a flat in here that will be more of the core correction eventually, right? Something like this. And this would be 1, 2, 3. Come back up there, drop back here. We'll still be within this for upside. So we need to make sure that it's not repeating this, or it's not doing that. A flag here would be a good buy setup, though. We don't have a flag. All we have is a flag for downside, not a flag for buy. I would go with a running flat if it wasn't consolidating here. So if it wasn't consolidating, we put an entry order above the top and go for the buy. But because it's consolidating here, I'll exclude the running flat for now. Swiss. And same thing here. You're kind of consolidating in this range. Under 15, you can see that, which is kind of downside, because you can make an argument that this was a flat of its own here. That was the top. This is the sell. Now, remember, this is a small one. So how far would this go? Good question. You can manage it. Let's see if there's a possibility for a downside. Not necessary. This one came pretty low. It didn't have to break the low. Same setup, running flat. You don't have to break the low. You can be going up. So I think we wait for this to see if that becomes a flat. If this becomes a flat, it's going to break. It will eventually break, but it might just break like this and start to do this. And if we get this, we're buying. If you get a flat, we're buying. And there's a good chance we could get that. So we wait. I would say look for a buy setup. Let's wait for a buy setup. Yen. Yen broke the top. If it broke the top, that could change everything. If the top is not broken, we're looking for buy setups. We broke the top. So in a structure like this, you break the top, you have divergence. Right, you have internal divergence here, but you'll generally see divergence in the 4 hours. I think you can see that divergence is huge. The chances are you could come back down. Right? So do we have sell setups? Let's go to the 50. And we do have a running flat, small running flat. You can put an entry order here. You have a small running flat. If you're making a bigger flat for upside, that's a manageable trade. Right? Because they're running flat in this impulse. That is good, actually. So we can put an entry here. If they're making a flat, if this piece is turning out to be a flat, then let's suppose that this is making an expanding flat. It will just come here and start to go back up. You'll get out of that trade. Because this looks like it's standalone, but you can put it with this one as well. So if you put that as a small running flat, this is the top, this is coming, another small running flat. Let's see if that drops. So I think the trade is worth. By the way, yen was a buy setup. And it was a buy setup before the running flat. It's a buy setup with this one here, right? With this here. That was the buy setup. But then it went slow and made another one. So I pulled the whole thing. But basically, even if you close the trade, your entry order should have been above the top. And I think this was a perfect buy. I don't know how many of you got that, but if you got it, you did excellent. Right? Because we could have seen that coming. Now that we broke the top, we'll try to see if we get a sell setup. So I'm going to put an aggressive sell here. I think it's worth going for. And then we'll decide on it. We'll manage that trade as we go along. Euro yen. Okay, so euro yen is kind of going sideways. I think there's a possibility for an expanding flat here. I want to exclude that, so I want this to drop, make a flag in here, and then we're going to sell. Right, there's a small flag here, but because of that expanding flat possibility, we will not sell it as yet. We'll wait. Now, there is a higher probability of this thing going up. Right, we spoke about that. So take this out. Of this going up. It could have dropped one more, but it actually went up. This was a buy setup here. And the news wasn't there. So we'll go with a buy setup. Put the buy entry there. assuming it's an expanding flat. If it's not, it wouldn't tag you, right? So you don't have to worry about that buy. But if it takes off to the upside, that'd be a good trade. Come break this top, and then we're looking for downside. So there's a buy setup, and then you can put that on right now. We put this in aggressive buy, and we'll see where that goes. Now, for the rest of the Euro pair, Pound, Aussie, New Zealand, CAD, Swiss, if you want them, join us live. Send me a Skype message to join live. If you had sent me the message before, but you haven't been able to log on, send me a message. I'll give you the video. Just tell me, hey, I would see in the Skype, I would see that you register. Say, I haven't been able to log on, and I'll give you the video. You should be able to join us because you already have the email. You should be able to join us for the London and the New York session. I'm going to go through some of these, like natural gas. So natural gas, it's kind of consolidating here. We were expecting one more move up, and I think there's a good chance this one could go. Looks like a nice small expanding flat there. So what I don't like is the depth of this pullback. This one didn't have it. It was a very sharp move, but we can still assume that it's going. If for whatever reason we're going to put all of this here as a flat, then this becomes the low. We're looking for this one up, and that seems to be more accurate with this. Put an entry order, go for the buy. It's a manageable trade. Let it break the top. Let's see how far it goes, right? It could be that you're trying to get that one up, and this is just probably some kind of expanding flat in play there. So we'll keep that in mind. Let's go with this for a buy setup. US oil, sell setup. So that was a good sell. This was a good sell. This one you didn't have to close and re-enter because it turned out to be more of a small expanding flat. The first pullback is not your problem. Again, you're getting the same thing here. It's consolidating. Put an entry under the low, go for it. That consolidation could be over. We'll retest this top. So there's a chance it might retest this top here first. Kind of do that and then drop. Go for the trade. Put an entry under the low for now. And if it makes a new high, you can go under the last impulse. So for now, you're under the low, but if it makes a new high, you could use the last impulse. So this is a sell setup. Do I think that will go back up? Yep, the probability is it's going to go back up. So if you sell it, you got to be careful that it might not go very far. Because from this point here, chances are if it drops one more, we could go back up for this one. For this 1, 2, 3, we could go back up for this one here. It's not going up as yet. We don't have any buy setups. So if you're going to sell this with a lot of caution, we don't know where it ends, right? Remember, it could be expanding flat as well. So you sell it, and then you see the next move would be to the upside. If it breaks the low and starts to go back up, you have to get out of that trade really, really fast. Maybe if you're not sure you can get out, don't take it, let it drop, wait for the turn, then we go to the upside. Yes, 30. Okay, this one, if you got tagged, I don't know if this happened during the news. If it happened during the news, it's not supposed your entry is not supposed to be there, much lower. I wasn't there, so I can't say when and how that happened. But if it didn't happen in the news, you take that as a loss. So right now we will go, it's kind of going sideways. We don't have anything for this, at least not this one. This is more of a flat here. So we're probably going to get one more drop and then upside, because there's a good chance that this here will become a running flat. Right, this here. We broke the low here, so we'll have to take it from here. So you've got a 1, 2, 3. You've got a 1, 2, 3. This will probably be a running flat here, or an expanding flat in there. Wait for this to consolidate. Look for one drop, then upside. So there's only one drop you can get in there. This will be more of a contracting flat. So if this goes back up and make a flat like that, we can go for the sell. That's one more and then up. Right now, there isn't anything. S&P 500. Okay, again, we broke the top. We haven't got anything for this. So there's a good chance you're coming down. This could be a sell. You have a flag already there, so you could put an active sell trade here. So this one is a sell. And you can expect it to drop somewhere here. Remember, you're looking for this move down. That's about all. And then upside. Okay, so let's see. Nasdaq was the one we took the buy on, and then the second buy, if you're buying it, should be here. So the second buy would be okay. Look for sell setups. Did we break the top? You want to make sure you broke the top. Okay, good question whether the top is broken. I think it is. I think we can clearly say we broke the top, right? We tagged it already. Put it for a sell. There's a flag forming there. Go for a sell. If it drops and it starts to go back up, you'll close the trade because, or if it tags you here and start to go slow, close the trade, it's making a flat. But because we broke the top, if it starts to drop, you can go with the trade. So we'll put a sell here. Tesla. Okay, it's making a flat, not ready for the buyers yet. We're going to make one more low. Once it comes so deep, there's a good chance you're making a flat here. This will become a flat. It's going to go back up, take off the buy for now. You're going to go here. You're going to probably drop one more and then go. So it still will go up just like this one. Remember when we thought this one was going to drop and it kept going up because we broke out of the structure, right? Remember this thing broke out and it kept going and we were still, this is going to go down. Well, it went down. So the same thing here. This one is actually going crazy, right? But let it drop one more and then we're looking for the upside. It's still a very much incomplete pattern. Okay, this is going sideways. So that was a small flag. We were making a bigger flat here. You can let it break the low and then look for buy setup. Just a bigger flag for upside. Okay, the sell here. And if you took the buy, you close it. So if you took the buy, you close it. If you took the sell would have been a break-even trade. No, the sell, if you took the sell, you should still be in it. We didn't break the top, right? So take that off. I don't think we put the sell. I think we put that for the low because the buy is what I see we probably would have gone with here. This one, we make a flag here, went back to this, and then drop. So where are we? It's more of a consolidation. I think we're kind of pulling back as a consolidation. Let's see where it is. It broke the top. So you can assume that this was some kind of an expanding flat. Made a top and it's coming down. Did we break this top? Oh, we did. So yeah, downside is possible if you get a flag sell. Wait for a consolidation here, a very good one, and then go for the sell. I think this is easy. Let it consolidate some more, and then you go for the sell setup. Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin is consolidating at the top here. I think that is pretty clear. Eventually, it's going to go up. This piece is not clear. This piece is making some kind of a smaller consolidation here. So we'll probably take this off. We'll be stuck with a bigger pattern in play. If you take that off, then and you deal with this piece only, right? If you look at this piece only, we're going sideways here. See? So you will go with this as the down move. That's the up move, and this one is going sideways here. So there's a good chance it goes back up, come back here, give us a complete flat, and then go. If we see that pattern, we go for the buy. Right? You're buying within this one here, right? See this complete flat here, and then it dropped. So we don't have a complete flat here. If you buy this, there's no guarantee that this is the one that's going to go. But if you take it and you can get out of it, that would be okay. ETH, it also depends on how low it goes. ETH is definitely looking upside. This piece is looking like it can go one more up. But all of that would be inside of this. If you take this out, all of that would be inside of this one. Right? You can make an argument that this up move is finished. Here, there's a sharp drop and we're consolidating here. So if you keep doing this and then you go back up, all this will become as a flat for downside, one more. Maybe then upside. That will complete this flat. Go back up like that. And in any case, that would be downside. So there's no big up move in this thing. There's no point buying it. It's more or less consolidating here, just a bigger consolidation. I think this should go up, come back here, go back up there, complete this one, and then drop. Right? Because this is the impulse into all of this. That's downside. Every time you get that, that's downside. Where would this take us? Well, I think it's pretty clear, right? If you get all of that, then we're coming here, and there's a possibility we might retest the low before it goes. If it end up with something like this, right? If it end up making a bigger flag like this and then come back here, there's a chance we could still go up. But I don't see a big buy setup to the upside there. So we just have to wait. Wait and see with that. There's a buy setup here, it's short term. XRP still dropping, expected to drop, it's still dropping. This is still coming down. One more, retest the low here, and then maybe upside. We're just making lower lows within this move down, right? So this drop, this could drop. You need it to break the low and then start looking for buy setups. And ADA. ADA pretty much moved up. This was looking very corrective until this happened. Right? This was looking like a correction to drop until this happens. Now that you got that, you're in this one. So that means that it could come here, come back here, but it's going up. Right? Now, here's the thing. We have this very sharp one with nothing to add it to. So if this goes up here and come back down, right, we will look at this as a 1, 2, 3, go back up there, drop one more, and then go. This becomes a bigger correction. That's all. It's just a big, huge correction at the top there. If you look at it this way, this is the move out of it. So this correction was pretty huge from here all the way to the bottom here, right? And then this one is becoming a big correction after you move out of there. So this one completes its pattern, goes up there, come back here, go back up there, complete this flat, come back here, and then go. I think that is a possibility. We can keep an eye and see if that repeats itself. So right now there's a buy setup here. I don't think it's going to take off, but these are cryptocurrencies. You never know, right? BNB, same thing, consolidation for upside. Right now it's coming down. This is a sell setup. See? So on the 1 hour, it's downside. On the big picture, it's upside. So 1 hour, this needs to come here, and then there's a good chance we're looking for upside. Dash. Same here. This is coming down, and I think we're going to go lower. It's already going, so we might retest these lows. But this whole thing is a big consolidation. It's not going to drop right now. It's just a big, it eventually gets to the bottom, but it's kind of going really slow and consolidating a lot. Not pretty much the same thing. You're getting a flat here. This needs to drop. I don't think we'll break the low because we'll have a flat within this structure for one more up and then maybe drop. So it's still consolidating for downside, but the consolidation is happening here now. I don't think we're going up as yet. And the same thing for all of them. They're just going sideways. So basically, if you need to see all of this or if you need to see more of it, you have a chance to join us for free for 2 weeks in the trading room. You send me the message on Skype and we will add you to the trading room. You will have access to the room. You will join us in the London and New York session. You will be able to join us when we trade news to see how we trade the news. We don't literally trade the news. We trade patterns that we see during the news. Right? It's mostly a momentum trade. So for my YouTube viewers, thank you for watching. I hope you like it. I hope you share it. I hope you leave a comment. Right? So that will help us. And if you know anyone who's struggling, needs to learn something about wave analysis, you can recommend them to watch the videos. Thank you very much. I will stop the recording here.